everybody, Larry Lawton here. I have a good video for you. I'm actually tired because I was up all night doing some research, but I'll get to that in a minute. Before I get started, please check me out. YouTube member program, Discord, Patreon, our podcast, doing great. You look at the studio, The Real Deal with Larry Lawton. Please check it out. All our merch, all this stuff, and the book and everything else. And listen, if you like what we do, please pass the word on, and comment. I love to read comments. And also, please subscribe if you haven't. Anyway, everybody, 4 federal inmates escaped from a prison in Petersburg, Virginia. And I'm gonna explain the whole situation. First, 4 guys: Corey Branch, Kareem Allen Shaw, Lamont Rashawn Willis, and Tavares Lejean Graham. Now, they all escaped prison a few days ago, and one has been caught already, and that is Tavares Lejean Graham. This one didn't surprise me, because one, it's a camp. Let me explain how the classification goes real quick so you know, and then we'll get on with that. The Federal Bureau of Prisons has 4 classifications. You have a penitentiary, which is high security. You have a medium security, you have a low security, and you have a camp, or a minimum security. Now, they don't count the Supermax, the ADX, even in, that's high security, but that's a special kind of prison. It's the worst prison in the world. It's on the top 5 in the world. Anyway, that's the classification levels. Now, to go, you guys are gonna love this. Yesterday, I did the law for 10 years in prison. But what I did more than the law, now there were better guys who did the law, the actual law. I'm pretty good at it, but there were better guys. I was pretty much one of the best experts on what they call BOP policy and CFR, Code of Federal Regulations. I went through 108 pages of their new inmate security designation and custody classification. As a man in prison, that was my specialty. And how, just a brief thing to let you know how it goes, I'm gonna get into the escape. In prison, laws and policies of all divisions in the whole entire federal government, whether it's the FBI, whether it's the TSA, whether it's any federal organization, Federal Education Commission, they get what they call a directive. Congress passes laws, and even those are subject to what the Constitution says. And they pass a law. After they pass a law, then it goes down to the Code of Federal Regulations, CFR. Now, they are broken down into these divisions, and then they go to whichever division or whichever agency's policies. So you have a BOP policy, Bureau of Prison Policies. Now, they have to follow all the way up. If you watch the chain, it goes easy. But they don't, obviously, and then they have a lot of leeway. Oh, it's not a law, it was passed, but they're wrong. And that was won in court by a bunch of people. And I worked on a case for that. And so anyway, we know that. Now we know how the policy and classifications and all of that book that I just read, I'm gonna keep that, how they make that. So now they can change their own stuff. They don't need a law or pass a law by Congress to change laws, because they did. So how it works in prison, first of all, these 4 gentlemen, I'll use the term lightly, they escaped from minimum security prison in Petersburg at a satellite camp. That means they walked away. There's no fence. You can walk away. I did a video a year ago, and I went to Jessup, Georgia camp. And I actually snuck the RV at that time in the back. When the guards did see me, they ended up hitting an alarm and made all the inmates go back in. And that was more not because they were escaping, because they were gonna get drugs, and that's how they do it. Now, camps don't have fences or walls. They have a person who either has an early out date, like let's just say a doctor who commits a bullshit tax crime, and he gets nothing. That man, and I know one, that man will never ever spend 1 day in handcuffs. Just think of that, going to federal prison, never stay in handcuffs. So, it's a kind of thing I was talking about the other day. People ask you, what would you rather go to, Larry, federal prison or state prison? Well, it's state prison, at the level of a maximum security, at a penitentiary level, not at a low level. These camps these guys have in the feds is a joke. Now, why they have federal inmate camps is because, and they call them satellite camps, are always next to a bigger prison. Like Atlanta had a satellite camp. All the penitentiaries and a lot of the mediums have what they call satellite camps. And really what it is inmate labor to bring the goods out, mow the lawns, do everything. That's really what it is. And those are not, now listen to this one, they're supposed to be non-violent offenders. I'm gonna tell you how the law changed, but we're gonna get into the escape right now, because you know me, I get into it, I get excited. And I get excited for this because this is something I know and I did for so many years. And when I did this yesterday, some people emailed me, and then I started researching about this escape. So the 4 men escaped from federal prison camp in Virginia. 1 has been captured. Tavares LeJohn Graham is now in the medium security federal institution in Hopewell. So he's still in the prison area, you could call it the same roles or whatever, that he was in already. But he went up to the medium. The campus has no fences. They support the outside. They go to dormitory living. Now you go to the medium, you know, you got 2-man cells. They have what they call control movements, stuff of that nature. So this guy's going right back there, and he's going to the medium. That's a big deal for somebody like that, maybe. For me, I mean, at a penitentiary level, you know, that's a whole different animal. Now they're going to charge that guy with that escape. Only because it's here, and I'll tell you what I mean in a minute. Graham, 44, this is the guy who just came back, was serving a 120-month sentence for possession of intent to distribute 500 grams or more of cocaine and 28 grams or more of cocaine base and possession of a firearm in the furtherance of a drug trafficking crime, the agency said. Where do I get these? I'm gonna give you all this case. Authorities remain on the hunt for Corey Branch, Lamont Rashawn Willis, and Kareem Allen Shaw, who were reported as missing from the Federal Correctional Complex Petersburg Satellite Camp at approximately 1:45 a.m. Saturday, according to the agency. The reason they caught him then is they did a head count. So this guy right here, they found missing. The guard, there's 1 guard on for all these people. Let me keep it going. Details of the escape were not included in the news release beyond the BOP calling it a walkaway. It's because they didn't have to fucking go through a fence. They didn't have what they call a secure barrier. They had orders not to do it. Don't you escape. If you escape, you're gonna get charged and this. I don't even think they call it, I think, they don't even call it escape because this happens more often than you think. The U.S. Marshal Service, FBI, and other law enforcement agencies who are assisting in the search for the men, according to the Prison Bureau. Another one, bullshit. You think they're putting any resources to them? They're laughing at the Federal Bureau of Prisons. Branch, 41, was serving 160 months sentence for possession with intent to distribute fentanyl and felon of a possession of a firearm. Willis, 30, was serving 216 months sentence for possessing and concealing a stolen firearm and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Now that guy's case got 216 months just for possessing and concealing a stolen firearm. Something's not, it's a little fishy on that, reading right on the face of it. And Shaw, 46 years old, was serving 194 months. Now you think, oh, when I say months, don't think that's a flip in the bucket here. When I got sentenced to 144 months, and you know, wow, 144 months, I can do that. Well, add it up, it's 12 years. 240 months is 20 years. This one guy got 216 months. So this guy's got a boatload of time, and I'm surprised what they did. Shaw, 46, was serving a 194-month sentence for conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute a measurable quantity of heroin, the agency said in the news release. Now, I hate that conspiracy law, and we'll get into that one again, and that's not a light sentence, but there's always more to cases. So I don't judge anybody what they got and how they got it by just, oh, okay, they got this sentence. I don't look at it like that. The satellite camp is listed as a minimum security facility which currently houses 185 male inmates, according to the Bureau of Prisons. Now, pretty basic shit. But there was 1 guard on, not 2. Probably maybe 2, and those guards are sitting in an office fucking drinking soda. They don't have to do the things that they have to do in a higher security prison. Every secure prison, whether it's a penitentiary, a medium, or even a low, they have what they call two roving trucks with armed people in them, and they're just opposite times, and they're 24/7. The penitentiaries, they have gun towers and the whole works and helicopter wire and everything else, because you're housing guys like, I don't want to say me, but mob bosses, Nicky Scarfo, Vic Arena, whoever they are. Big time people, hitmen, murderers, federal, because if you murder somebody on a federal property, you go to federal prison. So anyway, these guys escape. Now, when they came out with this escape, I think it was a slow news cycle. Because a lot of times, these inmates will walk away, go get laid. Their girlfriend will come in a car in the park and they figured out they get an hour that no guards around, this guard's sleeping, and there's no fence, there's no buzzer that goes off, nothing. And they do that all the time. Well, there's been many cases, and I'll bring Massey on here, the person doesn't come back. Well, when he doesn't come back, they know, they got an idea what happened, they know his record, and usually it's a non-violent offense. This is what shocked me with this case and why I had to do a video of it. Now, they're gonna get caught. Listen, I don't even hate them for doing that. The guy who got 216 months and the guy who got 194 months, and one guy in this whole is 46 years old with 194 months, so that means 188 months is what? Add it up, 144 months is 12 years, and you add it up, 15, 16 years. This man is 46 years old. He's not going to be getting out until he's 60. And he says, what the fuck? I'm a felon, this, for this, and a conspiracy charge, no less. You know, I hate those. I told you guys, I can't stand a conspiracy charge. You can see I'm hyped up in this video because this is what I call my wheelhouse. And I will debate the Bureau of Prisons. I will debate how they run it, how fucked up it is, and what they can do to change to fix it. With anybody, a congressman, the Bureau of Prisons, they're scared to do that because they know I'll front them. And I will front them. I tried to front them when I was in prison, but they stuck me in a fucking hole. They'd lose my paperwork. They'd fucking file suits and then transfer me so I couldn't get a time. I had to fight every fucking dirty trick the Bureau of Prisons, the Federal Bureau of Prisons pulls. I had to fight that. Well, he's 46 years old. The other guy's 30 years old. And he got 216 months. He's gonna get out when he's probably like my age, when I got out. And their lives aren't over. But they're gonna get charged now, because this is now national. They're gonna get charged with an escape and probably get maybe a couple of years. They're not gonna get 20 more years and shit. And in America, you never know, but they're not, and they should not. Escaping from this prison to me was, one, a smart move. I might have planned it better. Listen, I know this is gonna sound bad. I'm not against the systems in any way, but I think these people got fucked. I don't believe, first of all, I'm so shocked at what they did, and that's why this case is getting deeper for me. I look at a case and I say, okay, what happened? 4 people escape, or who were they? This was not Matt and Sweat. If you remember that case in New York when they escaped from Attica, upstate prison, New York, a mega thing. They went through the tunnel. The one guy was fucking the guard, and then they got to bring in equipment through a cake. I mean, it was like movie shit. They did make a movie of it, and then they went down throughout, and they got out, and they were on the lam for like 3 weeks, and there was a massive search around the United States. Well, they were murderers. You know, you're talking about guys who had life sentences who were murderers. I don't get why people would be shocked, oh, they escaped. Let me explain something. It's not natural for anybody to accept, okay, I got life, thanks, go have a good life in your prison. No. The person's gonna be mad, the person's gonna be depressed, the person's gonna be a lot of things that happen. You just lost your life without killing you. You literally lost your life. And so people who say, well, shouldn't escape, what do you mean you should? You should be trying it every day. Of course I don't promote anything. They can't hear it. They don't have TVs and stuff in fucking federal prison, that's for sure. But why not? Trust me, I would have did the same exact thing of trying to escape this prison. I would have planned this. Now, if they were smart, they planned it a lot better. I'm really shocked. The guy who gets caught first is Graham, and he had the least sentence. He had 120 months, and he's 44 years old. I'm totally surprised he got 10 years. Don't know his record, don't know if he snitched, don't know a lot of things, so I'm not gonna, question prosecution or defense at this point. But escape. They didn't have to go through a wall, bury somebody, take somebody hostage. They walked away. Literally walked away from that prison. Let me tell you the changes and why this happened. I think it's very interesting. Like I said, I always look at a case and look at, okay, what happened? And then one, could it be fixed? Or two, where's the big fuck-ups? It happened because they got a lot of time for bullshit. You know, people are sick and tired of getting mega time for drugs. And I'm not here promoting drugs. I am saying giving people mega time for 500 grams, that's a half a kilo. So 1 pound of cocaine, he gets fucking 10 years on that one guy. I mean, every one of those cases have that. But the federal laws are set like that so they can control you, and they can not only control you, they can make you rat. And I've talked about ghost dope, we're not gonna get into that, but that's the case. Now, what they did fuck up, and everyone, and I tell people this to this day, you know, firearms, and I'm a Second Amendment guy. Firearms, if you are a felon, if I got caught with a gun, I go back to prison for 10 years. No questions asked. Larry Lawton goes back to prison for 10 years if I get caught with a gun. That's not even doing a new crime. That's just the possession of a gun. That's so fucked up that they tell you you're free, and then they want you to pay taxes, and you can't vote, and because you can't pay a fine, that sick fine, and in the feds, you cannot vote. You are a convicted felon. So do you get represented in Congress? Absolutely not. And they're telling we're this great free country. Again, all of this is getting me excited because this country, and I love my country, but they have their flaws. The Federal Bureau of Prisons, or the prison system in the United States, is by far the worst prison system in the world by numbers, by per capita, any equation you want to do it. Nobody will come up here and debate me and say, well, you know, we got a good prison system. It's built on rehabilitation. Absolutely not. It's not. That's what I'm gonna get into this bullshit now that came here. So what do I think is gonna happen? The 4 guys escaped, they walked away. This is no fucking tunnel dig here. This is no El Chapo. They walked away, they figured out what time, where they'd have an hour or 2 before anybody noticed them, because these guards are in for eating, doing whatever the fucking bullshit they're doing. This night shift, don't give a fuck. Probably a short-staffed prison to begin with. They just walked away. These guys figured that out. They knew what time. And they went and they had a head start. So you're not gonna get them around the prison. They had an hour or 2. If they're still around the prison, then they deserve to get caught. So now they walk away from the prison. Obviously they have to have help on the outside. This is what I get worried about. The guy gets caught, somebody's helping him. Somebody's helping him. Because I think I would. Not them, I mean, if it was my loved one. And these guys are gonna get caught, and somebody else is gonna go to federal prison too. Because it's you can't do that. It's aiding and abetting an escape in a federal institution. Just like when you bring contraband. No, contraband is drugs or anything into a prison, alcohol, anything that's not legal. If you're a civilian and you visit your father or mother, and you bring him, I don't care, a joint or whatever, even cigarettes now, that's introducing contraband into a federal institution, and it's a charge, and you can get 5 years in prison for that. I mean, everything is so penal in this country. You don't realize it. You know, land of the free and brave. No, it should be the land of the people who follow the fucking the bullshit. You know, and they're training people to do that. I really believe that. Well, let me go into this. So, in this case, the 4 guys escaped. They're gonna get caught eventually. Always to do. I talked to a guy who was on the lam, which means he was evading law, and everybody, and they had warrants and everything out from, was on America's Most Wanted. And he did that for 10 years, and he said, Larry, you know, when I got caught, it was kind of the best thing that happened. Now, I say the same thing now when I was a criminal. Being caught probably saved my life. And I was treated fairly. I was not by the Bureau of Prisons. I was not treated fairly. I was actually treated well by the FBI. So I'm not gonna knock them. The Bureau of Prisons are scumbags, and you all know what they did to me. And if you don't, go look at Gangster Redemption or watch the series in the playlist, and you'll see when I was tortured, strapped down naked and beaten and tortured. And boy, did I get a lot of memories today and last night. I've been up for a long time because I wanted to read this 100-page, and I get, you know, I fall down what they call the rabbit hole of stuff with law. I cannot just read the heading and think I know what's going on. That's not the way you do law. You got to read it. You read it verbatim because you know, little words can mean a lot. And cases are thrown and cases are overturned by the Supreme Court by may or shall or whatever. So you got to really be careful in the law. Well, when I was in prison, now what happens is they're gonna get caught. It's not a big deal. There's no fucking You're not going to see the manhunt that they had for the Matt and Sweat. You don't even see it already. You do see it on the news because somebody leaked it. And somebody leaked it because they have so much technology in there now. You know, people have stolen cell phones and everything else, smuggled cell phones into a prison, and it's amazing. I mean, there's cases of guards actually selling cell phones back to inmates. Yes, we'll bring a couple of guards on to talk about that, but that is what happened. So this is nothing major here as far as I'm concerned, as far as a threat to the community. You know, they're no more of a threat to the community than the guy who has their job now. You know, the poor kid that didn't have anything. And I'm not, you know, giving people passes, because if you're doing good, I'm proud of you. Keep doing good. You know, you don't have to be an asshole. You don't have to sell drugs. You don't have to do drugs. You don't have to do anything. But listen, you know how I am. I think freedoms should be freedoms. What I want to do in my own office should be my business, unless it's illegal, meaning with a child or something of that nature. Other than that, if I'm not hurting anybody else, why should anybody give a fuck what I do in here, whether it's sex or drugs or whatever? If I like to, whatever my sexual preference is, whatever the people's are, listen to me, who gives a shit, right? I don't, and I don't care what goes on in my neighbor's house. You're not bothering me. You're not hurting a kid, because that's my level of hurt and bad. So what am I gonna worry about? You know, I'm not. Well, how it works is, and this is why this is a fuck up by the Bureau of Prisons. When this, and I'm blaming it on policy now, not just the prison, policy. Now, who made this policy? The Bureau of Prison, head of the Bureau of Prison had approved this policy. It goes right up. Now, the Attorney General is the head of the Bureau of Prison. People don't know that, because he's the head of all of those agencies. It's under the preview of the Attorney General of the United States. They're head of they're head of the TSA. They are the boss. They are the chief law enforcement officer of the United States of America, is the Attorney General. Not a cop, not a chief, not anybody, not military. The Attorney General is the chief law enforcement person in the United States, period. Now, that's why I know, because I sued him. This policy's when I was around. I'm gonna go a little bit quicker on what it is. When I was in prison, you couldn't go to a camp if you had over 10-year sentence. Obviously they did. Or you had a gun or a violent crime, or if you were any kind of past violence, meaning they do what they call a PSI, which is a pre-sentence investigation. When they do a pre-sentence investigation, they look up every crime you did, everything else. That weighs to your security level in a prison. That's why mine wasn't good. But it weighs to a security level in a prison. So to get to a camp, I knew I could have been the best guy in the world in prison, and I would have never went to a camp, because I had a firearm and I was a violent offender. Well, obviously, that's not the case here. These all had firearms, but now here's how they do it. Now, they changed policies. 2019, they changed a bunch of policies. I can go into every one of these policies, but I'm not gonna waste your time. I'm calling this bullshit. I get so mad at this thing. My energy wants to just, you know, I get mad because we are setting ourselves up in this country for more of this. We really are. And what I mean by that is, we're gonna have more escapes, we're gonna have more violence in prisons, and then when the people do get out, they're not gonna have a chance to make it in society. And what's gonna happen then? The neighbor that is gonna be their next victim. And it becomes a major cycle, everybody. And it's a sad cycle, because we don't need it to be a sad cycle. We don't need this, we really don't. All we have to do is be reasonable and be common sense. Would you put a guy who had possession of firearms, all these kind of crimes, with a lot of time in a place that is no offense? No. But you know, I can almost go back and say our sentencing guidelines are so fucked up. Because why are we sentencing these guys to that much time? Why are we ruining their lives? Please don't tell me, oh, just don't do the crime, don't do this. People make mistakes. People don't grow up with a silver spoon in their mouth. Some poor kid in let's say Bedford-Stuyvesant in Brooklyn, his mom's in jail, or his mom's a whore, his dad's in jail, he's being raised by a grandmother that don't want him, and now you're expecting that kid to just be a great kid. I'm not giving him an excuse either. I'm telling you there's extenuating circumstances to every case, even your case. If you're looking at this video and you're looking at me, you realize no matter what you do, there's extenuating circumstances. You could be a spoiled brat and do something wrong. I'm not judging you because you're spoiled, or I'm not judging you because your family might have money. Good for you. I hope you use that to your advantage to become better in life. But don't say that these kids that, oh, I can do it, they can do it. That's not the way it works. It's just not. We're human beings and we make mistakes. I'm the biggest second chance person in the world, so totally agree on that. But in this case, these guys did not belong in a camp because they got what they call in the prison system, it's called a management variable. So let's say Larry Lawton is, I don't know, medical, bad medical, but I'm a high security prison, but my legs fell off or something happened. They get what they call a management variable to go down in security or go up in security. Here we say they're using this great wording, management variable, to do whatever the fuck they want, the Bureau of Prisons. They're out of control. They really are. They just got rid of the director of the Bureau of Prisons about a year ago. I did a video on it when they had to fire the whole staff or most of the staff Atlanta, USP Atlanta, where I was, and then they had to get every inmate out of there. It was such a fuck up prison because they can't even set policy right to guide good people to do good things or good people to figure out how to work problems. My thing is less paperwork and more common sense. When I look at a person and I see that that person's trying to change, and I'm not talking about hiccups, I'm talking about trying to change. Like, look at me. They stepped on my neck every step of the way. In fact, to this day, they step on my neck. Not the Bureau of Prisons, the government, the way our system is set up. I don't have the same advantage as a lot of people. I developed a program, the Reality Check program, to save people because I saw how fucked up the system is. And that led to everything I'm doing right now. But the Bureau of Prisons policies are broke. And if they can't sit down with the billions of dollars, you hear what I just said, people? Billions of dollars. They throw money around like it's a joke, man. The system is so fucking broke, people. Our system is broke, and this escape should highlight it. And I'll get on any show. I don't give a fuck about exposing them. That's the difference between me and a lot of people. You're not going to get a guy to go on CNN or Fox or NBC or whatever the show is and say certain things because then I'm going against them. And they fucked with me for a lot of years, the Bureau of Prison and the federal government. And you know what? I took it because this is what it is. You don't hear me complain. I was a criminal. I admit that. I was a fucking criminal. I belonged in prison. Did I belong to be strapped down naked and tortured? Absolutely not. Did I belong to be put in the worst prisons in the world? Literally. Why? I didn't kill anybody in a robbery. I wasn't even convicted of a gun. I had a BB gun. So these guys had guns and they're in a camp. So they can't even get basic policies right. That is the problem with the BOP, the leadership. And if the Attorney General is a smart person, and he is, Merrick Garland, that man should sit down with these heads and fire them again. I don't give a fuck if you just hired him. Or find out what he didn't do to try to fix things. Because the first thing a person whose leadership should do is, let's look at all the policies in this place. Let's see what we can make better. Well, obviously, there's a lot of policy in it. And I'm not talking about being lean, but lean on crime. No, I don't want you to be a pussy on crime. Listen, somebody makes a crime that's bad enough, they deserve what's going to happen. It's punishment. Obviously, I think our punishment system is messed up, and it's all a big mushroom effect right now, everybody. And it's got to the point where I'm losing it. I'm losing it. I'm seeing myself here get mad last night over things, saying, look at these people. They still don't know what's going on. I'm out of the Bureau of Prison for 14 years already, and I see the same bullshit happening every fucking day. I talk to inmates in prison. The things that they can make money with and make it easier on an inmate, they don't do for what fucking reason? Political, we look like we're soft on crime. Why don't you go look, United States, at all the other fucking countries and look at their recidivism rate, which means the rate of a person going back to prison. Look at their recidivism rate, and you'll see how fucked up our prison system is. We got the worst recidivism rate in the world, so nothing's working. So why would you keep doing the same thing over and over? You know, it doesn't make sense. I came to them with a plan how I can make money for the Bureau of Prisons, have less fights and violence in the prison, and fucking wouldn't cost the prison anything. They don't even want to give a fuck. They wouldn't even hear me. I wish I could testify in Congress. I really do on this Bureau of Prisons because I get into this. I'm telling you, I was up for 6 hours. Now, as of right now, and I'm doing this today when it goes up, this 3 inmates are on the loose. Good for them. I hope they get away. Sorry. I mean, you call me an asshole, call me wrong. I don't give a fuck. I hope they get away. And I hope more and more of that happens so they realize how fucked up the prison system. I just hope it doesn't flip and go from how bad they are, and make them worse even. But I don't know how much more worse you can get. They sent people in the United States over to Germany, to Sweden, to Norway, and they looked at their prisons and they came back dumbfounded. There's great video on that. And they try to take the change, but they can't. They can't because of bureaucracy and all the bullshit. So there are good people out there. There's even good wardens out there. I always say this, no matter where you go, there's gonna be good and bad, period. You have a police department where I live of 150 cops, give or take. Well, there's some bad cops in there, period. But it's the job of that leadership to weed them out and get rid of them, period. If you don't do that, you're not doing your job. The Bureau of Prisons has the biggest prison system in the world. Tons and tons of people, whatever. They have so much heavy overweight, and they keep doing the same thing over and over, and that's a sign of an idiot. So why wouldn't you change the people? I mean, I would change so much shit in the BOP. I would fucking it would look a whole lot different. But I would bet myself going back to prison, and I can have a better recidivism rate than they have. How's that? I'm just taking the Bureau of Prisons, the Federal Bureau of Prisons. Every state has this prison system. I'm talking the Federal Bureau of Prisons. I think I went on a rant long enough, but this escape has got me, and I'm gonna be following it, and I hope you do. Just Google 4 inmates escape from federal prison. It's everywhere. Man, I had to get that off my chest. I'm glad I did. Thank you guys again. I really, from my heart to yours, keep watching, please. Got a lot coming up. I'm in the studio. Please check out The Real Deal. Please make good choices. Much love, much respect. Tell a friend. Have a great day. See you Thursday.